Okay, so the object is to come in. First of all, you want to get your paints ready. We can't build a house without getting the foundation poured, right? So first of all, you need to get your pigments, your colors that you want to work with need to be wet. Now, not really soupy, because if you put the water here and put the soupy paint on it, it's going to bleed all over. We want our paints to be a little on the thick side, okay? But the idea is to pick out whichever colors you want to work with, because that way when this is wet, you don't want to go over there and start mixing your colors because your paper will get too dry. Most generally, probably you guys won't get your paper wet enough. It almost would be a little better if it was a little too wet. Now, let me come in here. I'm going to get my colors mixed up real quick here because I want you to see what, yeah, let's see, let's do that. Let's do a little bit of orange. Okay, so when we get back to your table, we're going to get your colors wet, and I'll show you how to do that. Usually I take a pipette and just barely put water on here. We don't want this paint to be soupy and like really fluid, okay? So I come in, we want the paint to be thick, like so. So I just break that up. Now if it's too thick, then I'll come back in and I'll put another drop of water. Now when you clean your brushes, when you wet this pad, like in this corner, you can clean your brush off on your pad like this. If you skim across the top of your water stays clean. That way you don't have to have 5 or 6 of these little water trays, like most watercolor artists have. Okay, so I'll get this in here. I usually use like about a size 8 round brush. And then I'll have maybe like a 2. And then I also have rigger brushes for when I'm putting in my leaves and my stems. So I'm just going to get some of this color broken up in here. And like I say, you can pick out your own color combinations. I just flopped on my paper. There we go. All right. I think I'm going to take some of this orange off of this palette too. You'll have one palette that will have all your colors on there for you. So, okay. So the secret to this, or not the secret, but pull your sleeves up. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to I'm starting now. You're going to cup your hand into your water, not water. And then you're going to, it's like you're going to, I'll just do it. You're going to have it kind of cupped in your hand, and you're going to come in like this, and as your hand comes up, then you're going to start flaring out. You don't come in and just do like this. You want to come in under like this, like you've got it cupped in here, and it's like you're going to come in here, and all of a sudden you're going to just spray it. So the water will be like a fan, okay? I am going to use this side. The idea for this is, now this, like I said, this paper has sizing on it like starch, so it's tough. So we want to get the water on here like this. See how I'm doing this, and then I flare it onto that. Okay, now we're doing that with water, not color, okay? So, I don't know if you can see, but if you can see a little bit how it's kind of sprayed out and that, so that it's sort of like a fan up here. Then you let that set for a couple seconds, or well, 20 seconds or so. And then you come in and you start kind of planning, like maybe where you want to put some flowers or some shapes, okay? And in the beginning it's going to be a little bit tricky for you just because, and that's okay. If it doesn't work out fine, it'll be all right. So you'll come in here and you just start taking your fingers and you sort of make some shapes in here, okay? Now you're going to take your size 8 brush in here with your paint in it, and hopefully you can do like this. And just, if your paint is soupy enough, I didn't get that quite so soupy, then, and this is why you won't have anybody sitting across from you. If you can do like this, like hit, come down like this, and then snap when you get down here. Come in and don't snap like this, because somebody might be straight across from you. So you come in like this and then snap. Or if you want to just come in and kind of hit your fingers like that a little bit. So you let that set for a second, and then that's going to let the paint just kind of go wherever it wants to. Now, one thing we've got in here, we have the heat's on and the sun's shining in here. So possibly this is going to dry a little faster on us. So you might have to get a little bit more water on it. And that's what's happening right now with me. Then you can come in and you can start kind of coming in a little bit like so. I'm kind of looking at the light, leaving a light area on the top a little so that it's going to have a little bit more. You can see how we're starting to get a little bit of flower shapes a little bit. Okay. Now if you want, you can come in then with another color. Purple would be nice to work with this too. And I can, it's not wet enough. I can come in a little bit more with some extra color in here. I'm going to let that set. Then I'm going to come in now with my greens. Now there's a neat little thing up here that could be maybe like a little bud. So we could just kind of pull them in a little bit. Now also if you're going to do a vase or a vase down at the bottom, then we're going to need to allow space, you know, for a little vase. You probably could take a couple of these if you don't get paint on them, and then we come in like this. If you rest your finger kind of on your paper, it allows you to kind of get in here where, yeah, it's really warm in here. But you could come in and now start working with, and I'm not paying too much attention if it's going to bleed in and kind of make a mess. You can put the little sepals, the little part that protects the bud when it opens up. And if I want, I could come in with maybe like a, yeah, it's really dry in here. I mean, it's hot. So you could come in now with some little foliage type stuff in here just to kind of break that up. Now I'm going to let it just set, but it gives you an idea. See how this is all kind of bleeding together in here? But I'm going to let it just bleed. I'm not going to try to go in. I remember my first ones, I went in and really tried to make everything and stop it so that it didn't. Let's give him a little sepal up here too. Little thing. So anyway, it's just doing things like that. Now when this is dry, I can come back in here and I can put some more darker colors like we did, sort of like I did on this, coming back in and getting it darker. But you let it just set. And then you're going to come in over here while it's wet, but on this side you do it, you pull color here and then you pull your color out. So this way it'll be a negative shape, and over here it'll be a positive shape. So you'll put your color in here sharper, then you can just kind of bleed it over. And then over here though, you want it to be, you want to do this last so your paper's drier. Because then if we did this while it was wet, of course it would bleed in like that. So, and you know, if it boo-boos, I put a little bud down here just for the fun of it to fill in a spot. So that's why I say if you want to have something to look at, so naturally if you're going to have a vase, you don't want to get, you know, too big of flowers down here. And now obviously this is not a vase that's going to hold these flowers up, but